You don't need a budget to manage your money. I'm sure somewhere you've heard that managing money means following a budget, like that's the only way to be responsible. For a lot of people, budgeting is stressful. It creates guilt and frustration when they don't stick to it, and eventually it leads to avoiding your finances altogether. Here's the deal. I'm not going to tell you to follow the normal advice of every other financial advisor, guru, or expert out there, because the truth is, that advice, it's not working for a whole lot of people. You don't have to keep trying to squeeze yourself into this tiny little box of expert advice or opinions, their version of financial success. You don't need a budget. What you really need is a system that actually works for you, for the way you think, the way you plan, the way you live your life and handle your money. I'm Rose Colburn, and welcome to the 30-Day Budgeting Challenge, where I'm giving you one quick tip every day to help you take control of your money. Every time I talk to someone about their finances, I hear the same few things over and over again. I don't need a budget. I pay my bills on time every month. I can't stick to a budget. It never matches my real expenses. I hate budgeting. It's worse than being on a diet because I can't buy anything I actually want. And honestly, I get it, because most of the budgeting advice out there doesn't reflect how people actually live, spend, or even think about their money. When it comes to budgeting, there's more to it than just the numbers that we put on paper. It's the resistance we feel, the old stories that our brain keeps repeating about money, the guilt, the frustration, sometimes even fear, because we don't like facing the real story of our income versus our expenses. Facing those numbers in black and white feels overwhelming, and that's why I tell people, you don't need a budget to manage your money. What you really need is a system that deals with all of that, that still gives you something flexible, realistic, and actually aligned with how you live in the real world. Here's what I see over and over again. The experts say you have to budget your money if you want to get out of debt, be responsible, build wealth, or whatever reason it is that they're pushing today. So you try budgeting. Maybe you follow a strict percentage-based system, and that doesn't work. So you track every dollar, but keeping up with all of those receipts in your purse or pockets, that gets exhausting. You download a budgeting app. You find a cool looking spreadsheet. You try one of those, but you don't even use half of what they've set up. And eventually you start thinking, I must be doing something wrong. And that thought, it doesn't feel good. What does feel good is just not thinking about it at all. That used to be my go-to strategy. Head in the sand. If I don't look at it, nothing's wrong. It's not real, right? But here's the thing. We need to back up for a second. That one little voice that says, obviously, I'm doing something wrong, that's where the real problem is. Not the you part, but the belief that you're the problem. Let me be clear. You are not the problem. Seriously, you're not. Budgeting brings up a lot of emotional baggage for a lot of people, not just you. There's guilt over past mistakes, worry that you'll never get ahead, frustration that you just can't seem to do it right. So eventually you just stop. You don't use a budget, not because you don't care, but because it doesn't feel good. And I want you to hear this. You are not the problem. You are not doing it wrong. Everyone has financial mistakes in their past, even those so-called experts who try to make you feel bad about your mistakes. So here's what needs to change. You don't need more discipline. You need more alignment. You don't need a better budget. You need a system that actually makes you feel good about managing your money. A system that works with your habits, not against them, that adapts to your values, your goals, and the way your brain actually operates. This is what I call the lifestyle budgeting. And if the word budget still makes you cringe, well, don't call it that. Call it your fluffy pink money goal. Call it your manly money flow, your peace and profits plan, your secret plot to buy tacos today and retire someday. Seriously, labels just don't matter. Alignment and action does. If you've been following along throughout this challenge, you already know about the 3 buckets I teach. But in case you're new here, here's a quick breakdown. You organize your money into 3 flexible categories or buckets that help you manage your spending without tracking every penny or following someone else's rule. The main expense is your first category, and this is non-negotiable. Your bills, your groceries, your essentials. The surprise cost, which is the unpredictable stuff. Car repairs, last-minute invites, weird life curveballs that you always end up with. And the third is your sanity money. Coffee, books, peace, joy, space to breathe. The structure gives you clarity without guilt and flexibility without chaos, because you're not the problem. They're rigid budget ideas. You're not doing it wrong. What's wrong is the way most traditional budgets are created. Let me show you what I mean. Those rigid budgets, they lock your money up in budget jail. It's ruthless categories: guilt, pressure, overwhelm. And if you don't follow it perfectly, you question yourself. You start believing that you're bad with money because you can't follow their system. And that's not true. That kind of budget doesn't help you feel empowered. It traps you in a lot of guilt and self-doubt. Now let's look at this. This is what happens when your money system actually works for you. Your money flows through freedom of choice. It supports your life. It moves with your values and your energy. There's structure, but no pressure, flexibility, but still purpose, and clarity in the vision you have for your life. It's about learning to trust your ability to budget again, to trust yourself. That's what the challenge is really about. Building a system that fits how you think, live, and spend. This isn't about perfection, it's about reconnection. Because when you stop trying to control your money through fear and start managing it with clarity and care, that's when everything begins to shift. And from there, everything else starts to change. So here's your challenge for today. Stop trying to force your life into a box that doesn't fit you. Instead, I want you to name one part of traditional budgeting that just flat out doesn't work for you. Maybe it's tracking every dollar, using rigid monthly categories, following percentage rules, feeling guilty when things don't go as planned. And once you've named it, just let it go. Be done with it. No more. It's not a part of what you want or need. Just be done. Say it out loud if you need to. That doesn't work for me, and that's fine. Then ask yourself, what does work for me? What would help me feel more in control of my money? What would give me clarity? What makes me feel I can do this without worrying about getting it right? Maybe that means budgeting by paycheck instead of monthly, using broad spending buckets instead of categories, doing a weekly money check-in with your favorite playlist, calling it something fun like your Magic Money Map or Pizza Freedom Plan. Just make one shift today that moves you from pressure into peace, because the best money system, it's the one that works for you. And you don't have to have it all perfectly figured out to start creating wealth. Watch this video next to see how you can start building wealth, even if you're not doing everything just perfect right now, even if you're starting from scratch. Join me again tomorrow for another video in the 30-Day Budgeting Challenge. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.